All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. You'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today, and I hope everybody's week is going well so far. Um, it's hump day, so we're going to get straight to it. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper for notes, and let's participate and engage. Um, some interesting things happened overnight that we'll take a look at. Got some more economic data coming out around the world, and so we'll take a look at that. Then we'll hop into the charts and see what we have happening and get some updates on some trades that we've been in for this week so far. So let's hop over to trading economics first. And drop me a one in the chat if you can see my screen and if you can hear me okay. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. And so, top news. UK inflation rate falls more than anticipated. Annual inflation rate in the UK fell to 10.1% in January, the lowest since September, compared to 10.5% in December, and a market forecast of 10.3%. The largest downward contribution came from passenger transport, motor fuels, and restaurant and hotels. On the other hand, inflation remained elevated for food, non-alcoholic beverages, and housing and household services, including electricity, gas, and fuel. So overall, the inflation rate decreased, but there are some areas that are still elevated. So that definitely had an impact on the charts. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at some of those pound pairs and see what that impact was. Then you had industrial production in the euro area dropped 1.1% from a month earlier, following an upward revised 1.4% growth in November, and compared to market expectations of 0.8% decline. Right. Intermediate goods output dropped the most in December, followed by production of durable consumer goods such as televisions, washing machines, non-durable consumer goods, and capital goods. So production is decreasing in the euro area, right? So things from that perspective slowing down a bit, right? And then you got Brent crude falls for the second straight session, right? Oil starting to pull back a little bit. Yeah. And then you got people, right, digesting the the news from yesterday coming out of the United States. So over to Forex Factory here. Let's take this out to the week. Right. So yesterday you had CPI data come out, right? And it was above the expectation, but it decreased overall. And you saw the market just not know what it wanted to do. It bounced back and forth and bounced back and forth and bounced back and forth. So it was interesting to see that reaction. Now that folks have digested, we're starting to see the market move a little bit overnight. And then into today, right, here's that CPI data coming out of the UK, 10.1. Your core CPI is at 5.8. Which was below the expectation. And then you had your PPI data for the UK and your industrial production out of Europe. Still later on today, you got core retail sales. This is the next space that folks have their eyes on, right? Watching to see what's happening from a sales perspective. And it'll give more insight into just overall consumer spending, which the Fed is watching closely. So something that we definitely want to keep our eyes on as we move throughout the day today. And then later on tonight, we have employment change and unemployment rate for Australia. Okay, so still a busy week ahead, but that's it from a fundamental perspective. Are there any questions?
No.
No. All right. Cool deal. So let's hop over to the charts. We'll take a look at the dollar first. And this is the dollar on the 4-hour. And yesterday we talked about the dollar approaching the support level, and we wanted to see how the news would impact this level. If price would push down and give us a deeper retracement into this lower zone here, or would this level hold? And it held, right? So we got like a double bottom action here at this daily support level, right? And we're pushing back to the top of that range. So the question now is, do we break out of this range, depending on the data from today, right? Retail sales. Do we push out of this range, get us a retest, and then continue higher? Or do we stay in the range, right? Do we reject off of that and come back down to the bottom of that range? Okay, so that's what I'm looking for on the dollar. And those dollar crosses, they'll move similarly, right? So that's what we're waiting to see, is what happens at the top of this range now on the dollar. So we're still pushing sideways here. As Benny broke down last night, we need a breakout. All right, the dollar breaks out of this range. The dollar crosses can also break out of their range as well. Okay, so that's the DXY. Going to do a quick update on some of the setups that I'm currently in, and we talked about some of these yesterday as well. This Aussie dollar, the Aussie dollar. From a daily time frame perspective, we're looking for price to push up just a little bit further, right, into this zone and retest this bearish candle here, right? We come down to the 4-hour time frame. We had this boxed out here, right? And we're looking to see price push up into this range a little bit more, retest that range, and that's what happened. And then we got this rejection to the downside, right? So we get down to the 1-hour time frame, we'll see what this looked like. But that's the push into that zone, and then we broke down, headed to the bottom of the range, right? Just like the dollar index is, right? So we come here on the 1-hour. Come here on the 1-hour, and we pushed up. We came just shy of the 618 retracement with this erratic move here, right? Just shy of the 618 retracement level, and then we started making our way down, right? So if the dollar breaks out, right, this could break out to the downside and get to that D extension, which in this case, where'd my fib go? Run the fibs back on this. Actually, that was already taken out. Okay. So that would just push to the D extension then here on the 1-hour. And on your 4, this level here is just inside your 382, right? So this green line on your 1 is your 382 on your 4, which is right in line with your D extension on that capital fib on the 1-hour, right? So we're headed down. Now we just want to see if we break out of the bottom of this range, right? So this one's on the go. 75 pips so far. Get to the D extension, it'd be 151 pips to the downside there, right? So that's where we are on the Aussie dollar. Moving to the downside, this 80-20 scenario is playing out as expected off of that pullback that we played last week. Now we're pushing down to the downside, headed to that headed to that 382. All right, so that's the Aussie dollar. moving in our favor. Look at the pound dollar first because it had similar movement, right? Pound dollar, we're also looking for it to push up into this range, right? We had this boxed out yesterday, and we walked this down through the time frames, right? Pushed right into the zone that we're looking for, right? And then collapsed. It was an erratic move, right? But it did what we were looking for it to do. Okay. So we come down here to the 1, and you see, right? We talked about this with this zone being in our sweet spot, right? With this zone being in our sweet spot. Price pushed right into it, 786 retracement. Let's check that. Yep, 786 retracement. And then took off to the downside, right? Came down, got a little sideways late last night, and then went ahead and started pushing to the downside, right? That UK inflation number, right, turned some of these pound pairs south. And that just pushed this one. That was the catalyst that we needed for this to fully push down to the downside. Now, right, still with the dollar in the range, we still want this to break out to the downside, right, and break below this level here and even this low here to get to that matching D extension, right? So we got some levels still to break through from a lower time frame perspective, but this one is on the go to the downside, 140 pips to the good there. If we get to the matching D extension, it's 217 pips to the downside, right? But could have more downside movement to go there. Okay. More downside movement to go. And this is also an 80-20 scenario on the 4-hour once you zoom out, right? So that 382 sits here. Change this to that, change that green, and we'll drop this down as well. This is our target TP level. Okay. So that 382 from where price currently is another 388 pips to the downside from where price currently is. Okay. So we got a little ways to go still, right? But we got some good movement here. So have some opportunities as price continues to move potentially for some additional 80-20 scenarios if they play out like that, right? We got this D extension coming in line with this daily support level here, right? So once price gets here, we could see a new fib form, right? It could give us an 80-20 scenario for a retracement, come back and retest some levels, and then continue to the downside potentially. So we'll see more opportunities there for those 80-20s playing to the downside. Okay. Got quite a ways to go there. So that's the pound dollar moving in our favor as well as the dollar ranges, and looking for a breakout there. If that dollar breaks out, then we could definitely see this one continue to ride to the downside. Okay. Any questions on the Aussie dollar or the pound dollar? No. All right, cool deal. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, what's going on?
Not too much, man. Not too much. Just getting an update on these overnight moves.
Right, I see. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, man. You?
Doing great.
Awesome. Had the UK inflation rate drop more than expected. And industrial orders slow in the Eurozone. So those are the two big pieces overnight. Did you see anything else if you had a chance to look this morning?
No, that's about it. I saw that too. The thing that concerns me with the UK inflation rate is that it's high. It's super high. So I don't know. I don't necessarily know what that means, I guess. So,
yeah, I follow you.
Because it's been so high anyway. So
yeah,
we'll see. It'd be interesting to see what happens when market open. New York session and see what type of reaction we get from that.
For sure. See if it counteracts that initial reaction, push to the downside. Yeah, I dig it. Cool deal. Appreciate you, bro. That's where you're on the pound dollar reset. I got the DXY dropping and the dollar going, and the pound dollar going up. Okay, what are you looking at on the DXY, Reese? And what are you what gives you that bias? Curious on your thoughts. We got this range here, and it could happen, right? This could come back down to the bottom of this range, but that daily support level held pretty well, right? And it was a resistance level that we broke through pretty strongly. And this is just my bias on it, right? That level held pretty strong, and it held pretty strong as support, but we got to see what happens here. And then from a fundamental perspective, right, we know the dollar is still hawkish, right? We know the Fed is still hawkish. So this data today definitely could give us some additional insight, right? And some of the data, I think we got some more coming out on Thursday and Friday too. So definitely could have more catalysts in one direction or the other. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. But on this pound dollar, reason I'm bearish on it, because the dollar is hawkish, right? But this 80-20 scenario, and if we break back below this daily support level here, right, we could hold. We broke below it temporarily, came back up, retested that level, and these levels held also, right? So if we close this daily level, I'm looking for this to continue to push to the downside, at least getting to this next daily support level at 118.406. DXY is at a critical resistance. And bullish on stocks in the short term. Okay. I dig it. We'll see. We will see how this thing plays out, man. It's always a fun game to watch, fun game to be a part of. So we shall see. We'll see what happens. That's the pound dollar. Then was it the Euro CAD? The Euro CAD. Been long on this one, right? Daily time frame. We looked at it yesterday, pushing off that daily support, right? Moving back up into this breakout range here. So we'll come down to the 4-hour. And overall, we got this 80-20 scenario playing out, right? Price trying to make its way to the downside. ECB still hawkish. CAD potentially discussing pausing their rates, pausing their increases. So that's definitely conversation there that's helping this move to the upside here, coming into this daily resistance level that we broke through, retesting some of those levels. So watching this as it inches closer to our sweet spot here, right? On the 1 hour, we got this push to the upside. We're sitting at a 50% retracement right now. Could potentially push a little bit higher and get back to this daily level. We'll see. But the move was down here on the 15, right? This was the move here. 80-20 scenario, shallow retracement, 118 and 127, and we're on the move to the upside. But right now, still decently above the cloud, but we're pressing sideways. Okay. Pressing sideways here. I am actually about to take my profit on this one. This was a great move to the upside. Now I just want to sit and wait and see what happens from this point. 114 pips to the good. And I just closed my trade on that one. So that was a great move to the upside. Now we'll wait to see what happens, right? Do we push a little bit higher, get back to that daily level, and then are we able to break through it, or do we stay below, right? So that was a beautiful move to the upside there. Joy moves stop loss up. Great trade management. Great trade management. That's that's what it's about. Cool deal. So that's the Euro CAD. Beautiful play to the upside. Now we're looking to see what happens at these higher levels as we move into the sweet spot. All right. Questions on the Euro CAD? Oh. All right. Sweet. And then I'm not in this one right now, but Benny looked at it last night and he asked, will we get to this 118, 127 zone? So pushing to the upside, coming into this 144, 810 resistance level here. Right. So we come down to the 4. And Benny, we're getting there, man. We're getting there to that 118 and 127 zone.
I see. Way to stay patient.
We getting there, man. So it's pushing to the upside, coming into this daily level. We'll see on the 4 if we push above that and get into that zone. We're inching closely there on the 4, right? On our 1, right, similar to that 4 hour, is pushing. It was trying to push to the downside, right? We dropped the cloud on here. Didn't break the cloud on the 1, right? Starting to thin out a little bit as we get close to that daily resistance level. We'll see if we get a peak above. If we get a peak above that daily level into that 118, 127 zone, and then give us a flip. All right. But pushing to the upside nonetheless. So continue to be patient here. Allow this one to meet our rules. We come down to the 15. This is where it got interesting for me yesterday. Because, right, this is that capital fib on the 15. It didn't get into that 118, 127 zone, and it came down and it broke the cloud here, right? And I was looking for a price to stay below this daily level, and it did not, right? As soon as that candle closed, it flipped and pushed back up, right? So it was interesting yesterday on this cloud break, okay? But price pushed back up. Now we're headed into this 118, 127 zone on the 15. So we got a lot of confluence coming in at this daily level, 4 hour, 1 hour, and a 15-minute. So this is one that I'm going to be watching closely as the day progresses, right? As the day progresses to see if we get our confirmations here to enter this one to the downside. All right. So keep your eyes peeled there. We got, actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to mark out this zone on the 4. Mark out this zone on the 4. And we'll bring this down to the 1 hour to the 15 also. All right. That's our 118, 127 zone. We'll drop that down there. Right. So that's in direct alignment with the 1 hour. Sweet. Great. Keep your patience. Keep your patience, right? 4 hour and 1 hour are in direct alignment, right? And that zone is just above that 15-minute 118, 127 zone, right? So we could get a peak up there, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if price did push up into the zone and then turn over, right? That would not surprise me, right? A brief break above that level, and then we get some kind of wick on a higher time frame that's above that level, but it doesn't close above on a higher time frame. So that's what we're looking for. So keep your patience there. Keep your patience there. This would be a nice move if it plays out for us. All right. But that is the Swiss yen. That's the Swiss yen. Questions here? Nope. All right. Hold on one second. All right, cool deal. Then I missed this one yesterday. I had it, I marked it up. I forgot to post it, but this pound yen pound yen. We pushed into the top of this range again, right? Pushed back to the top of this range. Strong push, right? And now we're trying to come back down. Come to the 4. Okay. On our 4, we had this 80-20 scenario playing out here, right? To the upside. And it's just been ranging, but trying to push up. Didn't get to that 382, right? We didn't get that pushed into that 382 zone. But just looking at it from a range perspective, we'll pull the fib out, right? Top of the range, opportunity to play it back to the bottom of the range, right? And coincidentally, that UK news came in, right? As price got to the top of the range, flip and push it down, right? So as we come down to our lower time frames, here we are in the 1, right? Shallow retracement, just missed that 382 there, pushed into that 118, 127 zone, and we got our flip, right? We broke back below, came back to retest, and now we're on the move to the downside, right? So here's an 80-20, another 80-20 scenario playing out, looking for price, right, to move to the downside in this range, right? So you can play the 80-20 here, right, back to the 382, or you can look at it just from a range perspective and play the range to the bottom of the range, top of the range to the bottom of the range, right? So there you are there. Break, retest, push, right? So now looking for price to get to that D extension, then see if we get another pullback. If you're not in this to the downside, right? See if you're able to get another high price to get in this to the downside. Okay. On our lower time frames, this looks like this, right? You had a fresh AB boundary on the 15. Price is pushing down. Okay. Broke the cloud. Strong bearish push here. Gave us a pullback. Now we're continuing. Okay. If we flip these just to track this move from the top of the range to the bottom, there you go. Right. This push down gave us a 618 retracement that retested that daily level. Now we're on the way. So we'll get to that D extension here soon and then see if we get a new AB boundary. And like I said, get us another high price and an opportunity to get short to play this to the bottom of the range. This range is pretty wide. So looking at 600, what is that line? Not sure what that line is, but this range is about 600 pips, right? 616 pips. So pretty sizable range, right? But opportunity to play the waves to the downside, to the bottom of that range. Okay. Then when we get to the bottom, we'll see what happens. We'll see if, right, we turn back over and press back up. Okay. Yen has been kind of back and forth. So we'll see how that transpires. But that's the pound yen. Any questions here? Yeah, flip-flop for sure. For sure. Nope. All right, cool deal. Take a look at this CAD yen. So this one is interesting, right? Because the CAD isn't been kind of neutral to dovish, right? Potentially pausing interest rates. You got oil retreating. Okay. Not necessarily. The yen and the dollar are hard to compare to each other because the dollar can be used as a safe haven, right? Or it can be used as a risk-on asset, right? Where the yen is most times used as a risk off or safe haven asset. So it's hard to compare them because the dollar can be used on both sides. So it wouldn't be a true inverse correlation for the two. So like when you look at the dollar yen, at times you'll see it just consolidate for extended periods, because the dollar can be used as a safe haven and as a risk on asset. So the short answer to your question is no, they don't necessarily move inversely. So yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it, Reese. That's why that's why the UJ moves so crazy sometimes. Absolutely. Just because it's both of them could be used as risk off assets, right, or safe haven assets, and then you get a bunch of bouncing back and forth. Or right, if you have like we saw over last year, the policy divergence where it was just everything was running on the yen. Right. And even in our risk off scenarios, the Swiss franc and the dollar were used as the safe haven assets, and the yen wasn't. Right. Because the Bank of Japan continued to stay dovish. Right. Continue to hold their stance and keep their negative interest rate and not be willing to make any adjustments or even change the narrative in any way, shape, or form. So you had this policy divergence that just continued to widen. That gap just continued to widen as everybody was increasing interest rates except for them, right? So you'll have those times, and Benny brought this up a couple, I think it was last week or the week before. You'll have those times where, and this happens with sometimes with other currencies as well, but where things will just run against the yen, right, or run against the Swiss because they're safe haven assets, right? And they try to stay in the middle for the most part, or for the yen all the way to one side. And so you'll see times where things will just run against them, or right when things flip and you get times of extreme uncertainty. EU and the dollar, yes, that's almost, that correlation is something like 80% or close to 80% inverse correlation. Yep. The euro and the dollar, but you'll have times where in extreme uncertainty, right, where things will run in favor of those safe havens, and you'll see the dollar fly to the upside, and you'll see the Swiss and the yen, those will fly as well, right? So yeah, it's interesting. So that's why we got to make sure that we're not over indexing on any particular asset, just making sure that we're looking at things also from a fundamental perspective to understand the overall bias fundamentally, to know if the yen is going to stay on the dovish side of things, or if there's some currency manipulation coming out of the Swiss National Bank with their bank deposits, to know that they're trying to keep that currency from becoming too cheap, right? Or too expensive. So those are things just to keep an eye on from a fundamental perspective. And you'll see those things, those happen sometimes, where you won't get those deep retracements, and prices just continue to run in one direction or the other with some of these safe haven assets. So yeah, good question. So this CAD yen, right? Been watching this one as it bounced in this 118, 127 zone, right? We finally broke above this daily resistance level, not in a strong way, but we broke above it nonetheless. And we're pressing sideways, trying to retest this level now, right? So from a daily perspective, we're starting to make those higher highs and higher lows, right? Starting to make those higher highs and higher lows. So as we move down through the time frames here on the 4, right, last week we were looking for this retracement to happen to come down into our sweet spot, right, and then get back bullish, and we got that on Friday, and prices continue to rise here. So we got the D extension here at 104.27. We're above the daily level, but we're also retesting the previous consolidation zone, some previous resistance levels. So this one would be interesting to see if we're able to hold above this daily level, right? That's what I'm watching to see here is, do we hold above this daily level? As we come down to the one, right, you see we're inching into this 118, 127 zone off of a shallow retracement, right? So there's potential here for price to push up and then come back down and break back below that zone, come back and retest some of these levels that we broke out of here, okay, that haven't been retested yet. So this one is interesting. We'll watch it closely to see if we get some confirmation as price continue, as the day continues to move on. Do we have anything? Nothing really for Canada this week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But that's what I'm watching for, to see if this one is able to stay above this daily level, or do we break back below it, right? So that's my question here. But pushing into this 118, 127 zone nonetheless. And we'll see if this turns over like a couple of these yen crosses have. Yeah, so that's where we are on the CAD yen, pushing into a 118 to 127 zone. Be patient, allow your confirmations to be met here once price gets into this zone, and then we'll look to see if we have an opportunity to get short there. All right, so keep that one on your radar. Just watch it closely. Let's see if we get the breaks we need, or if price just bounces and continues to ride to the upside. All right. Questions on the CAD yen?
No, I'm watching this as well.
Nope.
All right. Cool deal. Let's see. Yeah, same thing on the 15. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. This CAD Swiss is trying. We'll see what happens. It's still, Vinny talked about this one last night too, right? Similar to that CAD yen, trying to make those higher highs or those higher lows, right? We keep running into this daily resistance level though. Keep running into that daily resistance level and pulling back. So still stuck in this range here, right? Still stuck in this range here, not able to push to the upside. Okay. It's getting smaller and smaller though, right? So those higher lows, right, are coming in, right? And you run your trend line just like this, right? You see price just continues to bounce off of it, right? Just continues to bounce off of it. So we'll see as this wedge gets a little bit tighter. Yeah, it's definitely acting like a brick wall right now. But in either direction, once it breaks out, look out. Right. Once it breaks out, look out. So as it continues to bounce, we'll see as this wedge gets a little bit tighter here, if we're able to break out to the upside and make this move to get close to that 382. All right. So come down to the one. And this has been the move, right? We got a nice deep retracement here, 786 level, right? But we turned over and we're just ranging here. So we'll see what happens as the day moves on, if price turns over and gives us a push to the upside. Okay. So we'll watch this one as it progresses. Overall, right, the bias is long on this one, and we've been tracking it. Just allowing price to do its thing, right? Allowing price to do its thing. So that's where we sit there on this Swiss, on this CAD Swiss, right? We zoom out here and look at this, right? And it's just been bouncing. There it is, right? That's your fib there on the 15. Oh, that's the 5, I'm sorry. I want the 15. There we go. right? So we got the nice deep retracement, 8-6 level. We'll see if we get a double bottom scenario here in this zone, right? We'll see if we get that, and then see if we get a bounce out, right? Something like this. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. But potential deep retracement play. You just got to be patient and allow it to continue to do its thing. Give it its space to breathe and allow it to ride how it's going to ride. All right. Questions on that CAD Swiss? Yeah. Yeah, Joe, I dig that. I dig that. Just don't even look at it. Just allow it to roam. Allow it to roam. All right, cool deal. Benny, you got anything you got your eyes on this morning, bro?
No, sir.
Wait on those retail sales.
That's it.
Yep. That's for sure. Set an alert to wait. Good work. Can you pronounce your name? Is it Mikali? I don't want to pronounce it wrong. If you can correct me on that if I am.
Yeah, that's Molly.
Molly?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Appreciate that. But yeah, just being patient. So great work. We got a few minutes left. Does anybody have any pairs that you want me to take a look at? No?
Can you look at Aussie?
I was looking at UCAD.
UCAD. Mallory, did you say Aussie dollar?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, please.
Aussie dollar and the UCAD. Cool deal. It was Aussie dollar, right? We looked at those at the beginning. Continuing to try to push down, coming into this daily support level again, right? Coming into this daily support level. We wanted to see this push yesterday, right? And here with that crazy erratic move, we got that push that we wanted to see. And now price is just pushing down to the downside. So now we're coming into this daily support. We'll see, right? This is ranging just like the DXY is ranging. So we'll see if we're able to break out of that and push lower. We zoom out here. We got this 80-20 scenario playing out, right? And this was that retracement, right? We had this 80-20 scenario on the lower time frame that we played last week, right? Came into a sweet spot. Now we're pressing to the downside. We'll see if we're able to break below this daily level, continue pressing down, right? Green line is at 382. Take profit level off the 4-hour fib. We come down to the 1, right? And this was that push. Came just shy of that 618 retracement level on the 1-hour fib. And then it fell, right? So next level to watch is this 68728, right? See if we're able to break that, retest it, and then continue short, right? If this level holds, right, you'll also see, well, if on the DXY, if that resistance level holds, then the support level will hold here, and we'll see price kind of stay in this range a little bit longer, right? So all based on the dollar, right? Those retail sales numbers can definitely give us an indication or that catalyst to push this in one direction or the other. All right. So we're just ranging, coming into the bottom of the range right now, and we'll see what happens there. Okay. So that is the Aussie dollar.
Thank you.
You are welcome. We had the dollar CAD. Let's come back here. Push back down into that range that we're looking for. Let's come to the daily. Right? We're just playing around down here. It's interesting, right? Double bottom action, right? Double bottom action. We came back and pushed into that zone yesterday. Indecision. Now we got price pushing to the upside in favor of the dollar, right? But this is also still trapped in this range, right? Still trapped in this range. So that's something that we have to keep our eyes on from that perspective. Let me take this off. Okay. And we'll take this off as well. I got a lot happening here, guys. My bad. There we go. All right. So double bottom action here, triple bottom action, indecision, price pushing to the upside. We'll come down to the 4. Right. And you see what that looks like here. And that's that range. This is that range. Okay. So we'll see, right? The inverse action to those dollar crosses, right? We had the erratic action push down, test that support level again, and now we're rising, right? Now we're rising. So interested to see if we get a breakout to the upside here in favor of the dollar, and we continue riding up, right? Or do we press back down and break these lows? Okay. Come down to your 1, right? And you see that a little bit more closely, right? So we're just trapped in this range at the moment on this dollar CAD. And we want to break out in one direction or the other, right? And we can even shrink this down to here. Okay. We want to break out in one direction or the other. So that's it. That's all I have on that one right now. Long term, right? Long term, I'm bullish. This daily support level, this weekly support level, they held, right? But I want to see a break out of this range first, right? I didn't enter at the bottom of the range. I want to see a breakout of the top of the range for this to ride higher and get to these higher levels potentially if the dollar continues to gain strength. Conversely, though, right, we could push to the bottom and break lower, get to that 618 level, potentially push this weekly support level if we break to the downside of this, right? So those are the two things I'm looking for here on this dollar CAD. Break out in one direction or the other. Questions here? Nope. Okay, cool deal.
Thanks.
You are welcome. EU. There we go. Same thing, right? Literally just pressing sideways. We retested that level, right, which we talked about yesterday. Retest, but we're still pressing sideways with the dollar, right? Almost looks identical. Almost looks identical, right? That's that erratic move from yesterday. Retested that level. And got an evening star here, right? Decision, indecision, decision. And we're slowly sliding down. We'll see if the dollar gains strength as the day moves on. Okay. We'll see what happens there. Here's that look on the 1. Right? Your 80-20 scenario played out beautifully. Now you're just hovering at that 38.2 retracement level. See what transpires there. Okay. Just hovering through the cloud. You're welcome. You're welcome. Just hovering through the cloud right now, right? Just pressing sideways. So again, right, that range, we want to see a breakout. We want to see a breakout. One direction or the other. That is the euro dollar, right? Just another that I'm sitting and watching. Just sitting and watching.
Looks like an inverted head and shoulder. So.
Could potentially be if it turns over. Yeah. I see you there. We'll see. All right. If we get another push to the downside, something like that. Yep. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. What direction do we break out? How do the reports, or what do the reports show? That's the question. That's the question. All right. And then we had the Aussie yen. Pushed into that zone, right? Daily resistance level, matching D extension, right? This black line is at that matching D extension on the daily. Boom. Hit it. Immediately reversed. I was coming back and retesting previous resistance, right? We'll see if this holds our support. Okay. So on the daily, we need another day to get that swing high, right? And that new fib to form. Come down to the 4. And this is what that looks like here, right? Almost a double top scenario. Okay. Right there. So now this is the level that we're watching. Does this level hold, right? Or do we make our way back to the upside? See, on the 4, we already got a 50% retracement, right? Matching the extension is up here at 95,746. So we want to see, do we get price to, just want to make sure. Okay. Do we get price to make this move to the upside? All right. And this level is going to be a key indicator for us. If the level holds and we push, right, and we start breaking some of these other resistance levels here, right, we could be in for that D extension at some point. But we got that strong reaction at that daily D extension being hit. Coming down to the 1, right? All of this makes sense. You got an 80-20 scenario here on the 1 as well. So you got a daily D extension that got hit, 118 and 127 zone, right in line with that daily D extension, right? And we turned over beautifully. Okay. Starting to get your twist in the cloud. You got your TK crossover here, right? So from a 1 hour perspective, if you trade the cloud on the 1, right? Look to see if you get your confirmations. If we break below this support level, right, we could definitely break this cloud. And that could be an indicator that we got some more movement to the downside off the cloud break, at least to that daily support level at 159 pips, right? But this 80-20 scenario currently is playing out. It's currently playing out, right? Took a little bit, but is doing this thing now. Okay. Down on a 15. Right. That post that I posted earlier. It's a little bit early, right? 15-minute fib got hit. 15-minute D extension got hit, right? New fib forms and price is moving to the downside. Clean this out. Right. That's what that looks like now, right? That D extension got hit. This one was a no-go, right? Pushed sideways through the cloud at that daily level, pushed up. Now we're back at the daily level, right? Fresh AB boundary, price came down. Okay, so now we wait to see if we break this level, right? Now we wait to see if we break this level. If we do break retest, then we'll look for that continuation deeper. Okay.
Thank you. I took the 80-20 in 1 hour, so I was just making sure I close my trade on that.
Say that one more time.
No, I said I took the 80-20 on the 1 hour.
Oh, okay.
So I was just wondering if I should close it, but I wasn't sure because of the news.
Yeah. No, I just manage your trade, right? If you're in profit, maybe move that stop loss to break even or move it in a profit a bit. Right? But it's a beautiful scenario. Great play, right? Pulling the trigger on those 80-20s, right? Beautiful setup. So now it's, does this level hold or do we break it, right? So this is a strong move to the downside also. So we could potentially be in for at least a retracement on this, right? If that does happen, we could be in for a head and shoulders type action there, right? Kind of confirming that reversal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. No, you're right on. It's a little off, Yeah, ugh. Right. Not the confirmation you want, but right, a little sideways there. So that's what we're looking at there. Okay. So that could definitely be a potential. Get a nice pullback there, and then see if we have that opportunity to get short. Let's see. There's your AB boundary. That'll be interesting. If we get a pullback like that to match that left shoulder, that could potentially be it. We'll watch that. And you're starting to get this twist now. Yeah. That'll be interesting there. And that would essentially be a retest of the cloud on the 15. If you get that pullback like that. That's an interesting scenario there. And here you got, right, your sub fibs to the downside. You got an 80-20 scenario here on the sub fib. Let's watch this one, guys. Let's watch this. We can take this down to the 5. One of those short-term plays. We'll take this down to the 5. Like that. Sub fib 80-20. Potential playing into a head and shoulders pattern. We'll see if we get confirmation on that. Appreciate that. Watch that. If you get that cloud break and the twist, TK crossover, right? All those confirmations could get a nice play back to the 382. 46 pips. 46.50, 46 to 54 pips, something like that. Be a nice intraday play on that retracement. All right. And then ultimately looking to see if we stay short. We'll see if that comes to fruition there. Okay, watch that close. Good deal. Questions on this Aussie yen? Keep our eyes on that.
Thanks for the clarification.
No, you're welcome. Good setup there on the 1. Great job pulling the trigger. Questions on anything that we covered this morning? Benny, you got anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Right. Just wait for the big report today, and let's see what happens with the price action. Really, really good session, Ryan.
Appreciate it.
Great session. Yeah, being patient, waiting on the setups. Those 80-20s definitely play out. Just have to give them time.
Just got to give them time.
Yeah. And other than that, look forward to seeing everybody tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, sir. All right, good people. Have an awesome Wednesday. We'll see you tonight. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.